Have you ever thought about what you might have in common with George Lucas, Lucy Liu, and Warren Buffett? Probably not, right? Well, did you know that all of them were transfer students? Yeah, it's nice to know that you're in a good crowd, right? So at Fitm, actually 4 out of 10 students are also transfer students. So we love to work with transfer students because they have maturity, clear goals, and a strong focus. Being a transfer student is a really great position to be in. But as you and I both know, deciding where to go is not a small decision. It's going to affect your future. So you want to make sure that you're going to fit in the environment, in the culture. The curriculum is going to challenge you. All of those things are very important. And eventually, ultimately, you want to know that it's going to catapult you into your dream career. So those are the things you want to know. How do we find those things out, though? Well, one great way to do it is by being here today and getting all of your questions answered. But another way is by hearing from current students at that college. So with that in mind, we want to start off today with a video that's going to show you a little bit of that to set the foundation. So keep in mind as you watch this that most of the students on this video are transfer students. So as you listen to them, think about, try to discern the culture, our community, and our design and business philosophy. So keep all that in mind. Take a look.
FIDM to me means creative opportunity and success.
Like I can look at a brand or a company, I can decipher their advertisements. That's a gift that Fitm gave to me. I use a design ethos for products, for people, to everyday life. It's like, okay, I'm a fashion designer. I'm a designer of life.
Fitm gives us the tools to step into the industry and be well-rounded, and we have that passion, but now we have all the tools to take it to the next level. I love how unique I feel, but also in a community and how we can come together and create.
I've made lifelong friends here.
Definitely feel a sense of community and love here and acceptance.
Now that I'm here, I feel like I belong here.
It's just really inspiring and very unique. I don't really feel like there's another place like it.
So now that you've heard a little bit from our students, we'd like you to be able to meet some of the experts in admissions at Fitm. So I want to introduce to you today Jennifer Clark and Angela Tomei. Here they are. Hello, Angela and Jennifer.
Hi.
Thank you both for being here today. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourselves?
My name is Jennifer Clark. I have actually been with FIDM for 23 years, and love helping students realize their dreams.
Awesome.
My name is Angela. I've been with the college a little over 15 years, and much like Jennifer, this is my passion. I love working with transfer students, so I'm excited to hear your questions tonight.
Awesome. I'm going to turn it over to you guys for a minute, and because I want you guys to be able to lay a little bit of a foundation for everyone before we get into the questions. So I'm going to start sharing my screen again and let you guys kind of give us a little bit of background.
Great. I think that's a good idea. Let's kind of start by sharing some quick information about transferring before we take everyone's questions. Why do students transfer? There are many reasons students choose to transfer to Fitm. Some students don't have major options at their current college that feel like the right fit, that feel specialized or creative enough. Some students might change their major through the course of their education and find that now their current college doesn't offer their major. And some students certainly start at community college, always intending to transfer. The reasons a student transfers are individual, they're varied and personal. But the thing every student who transfers to FIDM has in common is the motivation to pursue a passion-driven path, study a major that they love, and pursue a career that will bring them personal and professional success. Our students also know that doing this in the center of one of the most culturally diverse and relevant, creative, important art and business cities in the world will prove integral to their success. What makes us different? Ours is a student-centered educational environment. Everything we do at FIDM is focused on the student and helping them develop and build their career identity. FIDM focuses on design, innovation, entrepreneurship, sustainability, and industry partnerships.
All right, so what's important to transfer students? Perhaps the number one thing I hear from transfer students is that they're looking for a specialized curriculum. Many of our transfer students come to us from the community college or even the more traditional university, where the majority of their classes have been in general education. And now they're ready to really focus on classes that will lead to their ultimate career goal. At FIDM, our students take the majority of their classes in their major, and our curriculum is constantly being updated so that it reflects the needs of each of the industries that we serve. Another thing that we hear all of the time from our transfer students is that they are looking for a hands-on education. At FIDM, we firmly believe in hands-on project-based learning. Our classes are small, our instructors are industry professionals, so the information that they bring into the classroom is current and relevant, and the projects are reflective of what's going on in the industry today. Our project-based curriculum also gives our students opportunities to collaborate with students from other majors, as well as industry leaders. And upon graduation, our students have industry-level portfolios that they can immediately show to prospective employers. Speaking of employment, work experience at FIDM goes hand in hand with the curriculum. Our students are encouraged to intern and to work in the industry so that they can grow their network and gain real-world experience while pursuing their education. And the Career Center at FIDM is key in that process. The Career Center hosts 2 jobs annually, on-campus recruiting events, portfolio, review days, and other networking opportunities. Last year, we posted an average of 1,500 job openings every month, and we're able to offer over 1,000 different internship opportunities to our students. So how to prepare for a successful transfer? My best advice is connect with an admissions advisor and do it as soon as you're thinking about transferring. Whether you're a senior in high school and you need help with a transfer plan because you're going to start out at the community college, or you're already a college student and need help with figuring out what credits will transfer and what degree path will be most appropriate, we can help with that. From there, we will guide you through the entire admissions process. FIDM is a rolling admissions college, so we're always reviewing applications. In fact, we're still accepting applications for the upcoming fall quarter. So if you're thinking about transferring, it's not too late to apply, and we are here to help you through the entire process.
Awesome. Thank you guys for that. Thank you for giving us that. Hold on, let me stop sharing my screen. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to, now that we have a little bit of a background, a foundation, we're going to go ahead and go to your questions. So I see that we have some questions coming in from the Q&A. So we have some good ones coming in. So the first one I have is from Kelly. And it says, do I have to complete my gen eds at a community college before I transfer? And in addition to that, what classes are required to transfer over?
I can answer that one. The short answer is no. You do not need to complete any particular number of units or any particular classes at the community college before transferring to FIDM. We have many different entry points at FIDM. Students come straight from high school, of course. Transfer students can come in with some units from community college, We have students that come in with up to 2 years or more from a university or state college. And then certainly we have professional designation students who have a prior college degree. So the short answer is no. You don't need to have any certain number of units in any certain type of class.
Okay, good. Good. We have another one from another Kelly. So my community college doesn't offer any classes related to my intended major. Is that a problem?
No, again, it's not a problem. In fact, most transfer students come to us with a completely unrelated background. That's the reason, oftentimes they're thinking about transferring to FIDM. They've had a change of heart, or they're at a community college and they're just doing their general education. Most of our programs start out at a relatively fundamental level. So if you don't really know how to sew, or you're not an expert, you're not great at sketching, that's okay. That's what you'll come to FIDM to learn. And those classes do start, like I said, at a fairly basic level. So that's perfectly okay.
Okay, good. That's good to know. So Zitlali has another question. What do you guys pay the most attention to when students are applying? Is it grades? Is it credits? Application essay? Project? What would you say it is?
Well, I think that FIDM is really unique in that we are a private college. There is a manner in which our students are selected. So I would say all things are kind of weighed equally. The beauty of it all is that you're working with an advisor the entire time. So if you want to have an essay proofread, if you want an advisor to review your transcripts prior to coming in, certainly we can do all of that for you. Of course, I think that being a college, we're going to weigh a little bit more heavily on academics, but all things equal, references, essay, portfolio projects really do carry kind of the same amount of weight when looking at acceptance. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Okay, actually there's a follow-up question to that. Also from Zitlali. I hope I'm saying that right. There's a good chance I'm not. But they want to know, what programs, resources, and scholarships do you guys have to help a student who can't afford the cost of FIDM?
So students that apply to FIDM can apply for federal financial aid the same way that they would at any other traditional college by filling out a FAFSA. So whatever federal aid a student is eligible for, it's applicable at FIDM. Same goes for California state aid. If it's a California resident and they're eligible for a Cal Grant, they can certainly use that at FIDM. And we have quite a few scholarships offered through the college. They're all listed on our website on the admissions page. So many of them pertain to various clubs or activities that a student might participate in that have an automatic amount associated with them. Others are based on academic merit. So we're certainly looking at, academic rigor and GPA, or creative merit. If you've, shown your work in a gallery, or, have done something exceptional in art, then we would certainly reward that as well. And all of those are kind of stackable. So, I would suggest looking through all the different categories and seeing kind of where you fit.
Mm-hmm. Good. I really like this question right now. This is a good one. FIDM is my dream school, and this is from Ebony Jean. FIDM's my dream school, but unfortunately I'm not able to move to California. Are there any online programs available?
Yeah, well, we're currently have all of our classes online. But as far as entire online programs are concerned, we do offer the Merchandising and Marketing Professional Designation Program completely online. So if a student has a prior college degree and their major of choice is merchandising and marketing, they can do that entire 9-month program online.
Wow, that's exciting. That's good to know. Is it another question from AJ Thomas? Can I double major? It's a question that you hear a lot, I think.
Yeah, we get that question a lot. You can't double major in the traditional sense, the way that you would at a more traditional university, but naturally we have students that have interest in more than one area. So there's a couple different ways to address that. Some of our majors actually incorporate kind of two different areas. You know, for example, if you are interested in both business and design, there are majors that address that. But if you do have interest in two somewhat different areas, you know, you want to study fashion design and interior design, many students will start out in a 2-year Associate of Art degree granting program, and then upon completion of that, they can actually do a second degree, usually in about half of the time. So that's one way to address it. Other students will start out in their AA degree in design, for example, but complete their bachelor's in business management. So in 4 years, they actually earn 2 different degrees in 2 somewhat different areas. So there is a way to kind of get 2 majors in there.
That's great because it actually gives you a lot of options.
I was just going to
Jen.
pick on that like a little bit. I think what's really unique about FIDM and about our students, honestly, is we talk to students every day who are interested in so many different majors. And it's really great to know that they can come in and kind of curate their pathway, if that makes sense. You don't have to choose one major to the detriment of, you know, not being able to study another. You can actually layer the education in such a way that feels almost curated to you.
That's good. That's very exciting. So it's very personalized. I like that too. So you talked about the semester that you were still accepting applications, but what is the specific deadline for fall semester? Alexia would like to know.
I can answer it. We don't have a traditional application deadline for fall 2020. We are on a rolling admission, so we are still accepting students. My counsel always is to talk with an admissions advisor. They will set you up with deadlines that are relevant, kind of pertinent to you based on where you are in your process. If you've gotten any of your application materials done, it will feel very guided, very directed, and they can give you, I'm the type of person that loves working on deadlines, so I understand wanting that date. So your admissions advisor would kind of work with you on putting something together that feels feasible and doable and can get you into school in fall. And fall for us doesn't begin until October. So we have some time. So yeah, active, but we have time.
Okay, that's good because it really helps us understand what rolling admissions actually means. That's really good. Thank you. So regarding transferring, Lisa Michaels wants to know, is the application process any different for a transfer student as opposed to someone coming out of high school?
It's essentially the same. We require all academic records. So, and if you have a college degree, then a college transcript is good enough. Otherwise, we want to see high school as well. We require 2 recommendation letters, an admissions essay, and a portfolio. And that's the same whether you're a transfer student or not. Really the difference is that for a transfer student, we want to evaluate their potentially transferable units. And that could impact the program that they are ultimately seeking. You know, maybe they have enough units to transfer in at the junior level, or they're eligible for a program that requires, you know, certain prior education. But the actual fundamental requirements are the same regardless.
Okay. Now, related to that, there's a question about GPA. So if you're transferring from another college, is there a certain GPA that is required for admissions? Miss Kayla Woods is asking.
Yeah, I mean, yes, we do want to look at what we're looking at when we evaluate a student. Again, we look at the whole file. We have to ask ourselves, is this person set up for success in a college environment? So we do look at GPA. We will also look at high school GPA, because I think Angela can probably agree that we've seen a lot of students who have gone down a road that didn't suit them for whatever reason, the reasons I described. It's not the right fit, it's not the right major, and maybe there were some bumps in the road, and that's not necessarily a reflection of the student's academic aptitude. So if there's a hard and fast GPA that we're looking for, but in reality, I think it's more about, is this student set up for success in a college environment? Are they ready to take on the rigors and expectations of a specialized kind of private education? And I think that everything about putting a file together will speak to that. Transcripts will, letters of recommendation certainly will, the portfolio will, and so will your essay. The other thing is, because we're, you know, small private college, we're able to work one-on-one. So if a student had a hiccup they can talk about it in their essay. They can talk about it with their advisor. They can talk about it with the admissions director. So there's a lot of opportunity to discuss their journey, their pathway, what brought them here, and if this is the right fit.
So Jack would like to know, and you did mention this a little bit, I know, but he wants to know specifically, what are the financial aid and scholarship options? And maybe in addition to that, where can Jack go to find that information?
Sure, I'll take that. So as far as financial aid goes, again, you can apply by filling out a FAFSA at FAFSA.gov, answer all the questions, and then we'll send you an award letter that tells you which federal programs you're eligible for. Same goes for California state aid. And where to find scholarship opportunities, on our website, on the main page, if you click on admissions and then financial aid, under financial aid, you can click on scholarships. And there are actually two categories on the site. One is full scholarship, which is, those are competitions. There's a handful of them, and it's a full 1 year tuition, book supplies, the whole 9 yards. Those are obviously very competitive. But then there's a long list of scholarships that a student may apply for based on GPA, based on creative merit, based on participation in various clubs or activities. So everything's there on the website under admissions, financial aid, and scholarships.
Okay, that's awesome. Very, very helpful. Thank you. So Diana Kalikova is actually here with us. Welcome, Diana. But she's not a transfer student. So she'd like to know a little bit about how she can go about applying to FIDM.
I mean, the same way. What I would say is absolutely reach out to an advisor, or you can go right onto the website under admissions if you want to read about the kind of how to apply, what we're looking for, what the application process looks like. Again, it's the same for a student coming straight from high school, a student who's in college, a student who's graduated from college. So the first step I would say would be pop onto the website, click on how to apply, read about that. It'll ask for transcripts, letters of rec, essay, portfolio, and then of course, if you get kind of stuck anywhere, reach out to an advisor so they can help you put together your application file.
Okay, very helpful, thank you. So Lisa Michaels would like to know maybe regarding the rolling admissions. She wants to know if it's possible to start any quarter throughout the year or if it's specific to the fall. And in addition to that, she's wondering specifically if she can start in January.
Yes, we have 4 start quarters throughout the year. Our fall, as I think you mentioned, Heather, is a little bit later than most schools. We don't start until October, so there's still time. We have a winter quarter in January, spring quarter in April, and a summer quarter in July, which is a regular academic quarter. It's not like your summer school that you would take at a more traditional university. And we do review applications all year round for all 4 of those quarters. Not every single major is offered in all 4 start quarters. Certainly in the fall, all of our majors are offered, and most of our programs are offered in the other quarters. But it's best to connect with an advisor if it's a very specialized major like jewelry design or something like that. It might not be offered at all 4 quarters, but many of the majors are.
Okay, good to know. Good. Pearl Alice would like to know, she already has a BA. So she's wondering would this process still be the same for her?
Yes. So
Okay.
we have a professional designation program that's specifically for students that have a bachelor's degree. We also offer an MBA. So depending on your pathway, what you're kind of looking into, resume requirement instead. But as far as transcripts, letters of rec, essay, portfolio, or resume, also required for professional designation programs and the MBA.
Okay, thank you. Lisa has a follow-up question. Do you have any advice for someone applying who's been on an academic hiatus for a decade? So getting going again with her education.
You want me to take that?
Sure.
You know, I feel like a broken record, but, you know, connect with an advisor. You know, it can be daunting, I know, when you've been out of school for a while, but, you know, we'll guide you through everything. You know, make sure that we have a program that's an appropriate fit. I think, you know, if it's possible, coming onto the campus is really helpful, you know, to be able to peek into classrooms and see student work and just kind of feel if you can envision yourself in that environment. And if that's not possible, we have a lot of kind of virtual options to get a feel for the campus. But I think, you know, find your passion. You know, if you love art or fashion or music or whatever it is, it doesn't matter if you've been out of school, you know, for a decade, that will come right back to you, and we probably have a path that'll be appropriate.
Yeah, and good for you. Amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds exciting. Solango is not a US citizen and doesn't have a green card right now. So I'm not on an international student visa either. So she's not on a student visa. So what suggestions can you give her? What help can you give her?
The application process is still the same. A student can still apply to the college. I believe, maybe Angela could answer this better, that a student who does not have a green card or does not have a visa cannot apply for financial aid. Is that correct, Angela?
Correct, yeah. Wouldn't be eligible for any financial aid.
But the application process is still the same. So certainly we can help you through that piece.
Okay, great. That's comforting. That's good to know. Mia would like to know about attending classes in the evening. Are we set up for that?
So we do offer classes in the evening. We have many courses that are offered at 7 p.m. The majority of our classes are offered during the day. So if a student is looking to come to FIDM strictly in the evening, that might not be feasible. Many of our courses are offered online as well. So the scheduling is very flexible. But for most majors, I would say you do have to have some daytime flexibility, at least a couple days a week. Our scheduling is flexible. It might only mean that you're on campus from noon to, well, probably for the rest of the afternoon, maybe 2 days a week. So as long as you have some flexibility with a couple of days in your week, we can likely work something out, but you do have to have some availability during the day.
Okay.
Unless you're looking at one of the online programs like Jennifer previously mentioned, the professional designation, merchandising and marketing. Our Bachelor of Science in Business Management is also offered online. Most of our MBA classes are. So there are a handful of programs where you can, you know, take your courses virtually.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Angela. Keziah would like to know if there's any opportunities to receive a full scholarship as a transfer student.
Sure. I mean, students, we have the National Scholarship Competition. That's on the website. That has ended for this year. The winners were announced just a couple of weeks ago. Congratulations to them. And then we offer, well, not necessarily a full scholarship, but if a student is going to community college, we offer fashion club scholarships to students who participate or start fashion clubs at their college. Those aren't, again, full scholarships, but if you were to look at layering the scholarship, stackable, like Angela was saying, that could be up to $10,000 between fashion club and perhaps academic merit. So yeah, there are scholarship opportunities, but full scholarships, I think the National Scholarship Competition, there is a fashion club scholarship. That's a full scholarship for a high school student, but for transfer students, can you think of any others, Angela?
The guest scholars program is something that we've done the last few years, so I imagine that we'll do that again moving forward, and that's a full scholarship for certain majors.
Right.
Okay, good. So you want to investigate that probably further with your admissions advisor as well. That could help. So good. Okay. Karina Evans is saying that she is having trouble trying to figure out what to do with her degree. So she has a degree in marketing, or is getting her degree in marketing, but she's actually always wanted to be in the fashion industry. So she doesn't feel like she could be a designer necessarily, but are there any programs at FITM for fashion marketing?
Yes. Yeah, if she's already getting her bachelor's degree in marketing, a great program to explore would be the professional designation merchandising and marketing program. It is one of our more business-oriented fashion majors, but it's still a very creative major. So students that are interested in working in the buyer's office in any capacity, or working in marketing or merchandising, as the title suggests, it would be an appropriate path. And that's a 9-month program. So it's concentrated, it's accelerated, it's a rigorous program, but you can be, once you have a bachelor's degree, you can be in and out of that program in 9 months. A big focus is on career development. So part-time work, internships, gallery events, fashion shows, guest speakers, all the things that are sometimes missing in the more traditional education are all kind of part of that 9-month program.
Okay, good, good. Jen would like to know if she could transfer with an AA from Santa Monica Community College, which we love, and get a BA at Fitm in 2 years.
Yes. Depending on which major you're looking into. I mean, yes, period. You can get your bachelor's degree in 2 years if you already have an AA degree. And what we'd want to talk about is which degree pathway you're on. Are you looking at the BS in business management? Are you looking at a Bachelor of Arts in merchandising and marketing, or visual communications, or fashion design? So we can help you kind of decide which major is the right kind of pathway for you. But yeah, if someone has an AA degree or equivalent units, like I've had students at traditional universities who have been there for 2.5 years, you can matriculate into a bachelor's program directly.
Okay, great. So Lisa would like to know if she was accepted, would it be possible for her to defer her enrollment?
Yes, it's possible. I think what probably makes the most sense, for most students is just to pick the quarter that they intend to start in. So things happen, of course. So if a student is accepted for a particular quarter and life happens and they can't start in that quarter, we can certainly look at a more appropriate quarter. But we're accepting applications right now for the remaining quarters in 2020, as well as all quarters in 2021. So if she's applying now but knows she's not looking to start until 2021, she can simply apply for that quarter.
Okay, that's helpful. Yeah, very helpful. Scott Landry would like to know how long it takes to hear back on your application being accepted.
Well, when a student applies to the college, the hope or the goal is to work with an advisor. The advisor will ultimately get an acceptance interview scheduled, and at that time, acceptance is determined. So it's kind of a almost 2-part interview process. First is chatting with an admissions advisor, going over your application file, filling in any holes. Some students have started the application, but perhaps they haven't gotten their letters of rec, or their advisor hasn't gotten a transcript. So I would circle back with the advisor and then see where you are in the process. If you're close to having an acceptance interview, then we'll kind of move forward with that piece. But students do find out at the time of the acceptance interview if they're accepted. So the process goes: apply, work with an advisor, or work with an advisor and then apply, either one. And then work together to build an application file that makes you ready for admission to the college and acceptance to the college.
Okay, and just to reiterate that, Jen is asking related to that, she wants to know, and I know you kind of just said it, but she says, how can my son get an admissions advisor? Could you just reiterate that for her?
Yeah, so you can call, of course, through the front desk. There are people at Fitm, even though a lot of us are working from home, we are absolutely available talking to students every single day. And your son might, if he ever has requested information, have an admissions advisor. So I would reach out to the campus, see if we can get you connected to someone right away.
Okay, sounds good. Pearl would like to know, what should my portfolio look like?
That's a good question. We're pretty open to, whatever you would like your portfolio to look like. What we want to see is 8 to 10 pieces of work. I know a lot of students are concerned because maybe they don't have examples of sewing projects or fashion illustration, and that's okay. If a student has a background in photography or painting or ceramics, whatever it is that's creative, that shows who they are and what they love doing, that's appropriate. For some of our more business-oriented majors, a lot of students have a concern there because they haven't taken any creative classes, or they don't feel like they have the ability to put that type of portfolio together. On our website, we do have a couple suggestions of what that portfolio should look like, and it has a little bit more to do with talking about a product that has been innovative or that it has had some type of social impact. So, so depending on whether it's a creative major or a business major will kind of determine what the portfolio looks like. But there's really no right or wrong way to approach it. You know, 8 to 10 pieces of whatever is creative to you.
Okay, sounds good. Morgan would like to know if it's too late to enroll for the summer quarter.
No, not at all. Now's actually a great time to talk to somebody about being accepted to the college for summer. Yeah, no, we're still accepting applications for summer as well.
Okay, good. That's exciting. Angela would like to know if there's a different tuition rate for students that are out of state.
No, our tuition is the same, in-state, out-of-state. Even for international students, the application fee is slightly different. It's a very a small difference for in-state and out-of-state, but the tuition is exactly the same.
Okay, good, good. How, Diodantanes, I hope I'm saying that right, wants to know how the job placement works for those who earn an advanced certification.
Well, I think the Career Center works with all students the same way. I often talk to students about the Career Center being the hallmark of the college. And I think proximity to industry is hugely important. Going back to earlier in the overview, I think one of the reasons why students choose to study in a fashion center like LA is for the industry. So the Career Center works with students through the start of school with job fairs. They put on industry expos and career connections days. They help students find internships, apprenticeships related to their major. So the Career Center works with all students at all degree levels, pretty much the same way.
Okay. So Salima would like to know if FIDM has interior design programs.
We do. We have a great interior design program. We offer both an Associate of Arts degree, a 2-year program, and a bachelor's degree in interior design. So one of the things I love about the structure is, you know, you can kind of make those decisions along the way. The 2-year program is very specialized. Some students kind of want to get in and out and get working in the industry. Others decide they want, you know, at that point to go on and pursue their bachelor's degree. So yeah, absolutely, we offer both.
Okay, great. Monica has a question that relates to the summer quarter. We talked about it a little bit. Not sure if you mentioned it. She asked if there's a deadline to apply for the summer quarter. Did you mention that already?
Yeah, maybe not exactly in those words, but yeah, no, we are still accepting students for summer. So no application deadline at this time for summer.
Okay. Jack is interested in the national scholarship competition, but since it's over for this year, he'd like to know, when will it be open to apply again next year?
Typically in January. So usually right after the first of the year is when the scholarship competition opens up. It usually runs through the spring. I think we announced the winners kind of mid-April this year. So kind of stay tuned. You can typically request the rules very early on so that your name is in the queue. And then as soon as the rules become available, they'll be sent to you via email.
Okay. Sitlali would like to know, if a student isn't accepted, can they apply again for the next quarter or the next year?
Yeah, sure. But I think what we do is so different from a traditional college, so I understand where that question is coming from. But at FIDM, let's say a student isn't ready for the rigors, the challenges of our program at that time. We will always help them create a pathway. So reapplying is not really necessary. You could be working with an admissions advisor for up to 1.5 years or more until you're ready to start school. So the admissions advisor and you, in kind of conjunction, will create a pathway to FIDM if for some reason it's not realistic at that time.
Okay. Vicky has a question. She'd like to know if, as a college student, can she be a part of Fashion Club, or is it just for high school students?
No, we have fashion clubs in colleges as well as in high schools. So the best thing to do would be to go to the Fashion Club website, fashionclub.com, You know, download the information on how to start a club. You know, you have to have an advisor at the school that can kind of oversee the club. And we have, you know, great staff at our school that will help you to set everything up, send you a kit. And there are great benefits to starting a club and being the president of the club, you know, particularly an automatic scholarship. So yeah, absolutely, you can do fashion club at the college level.
Oh, that's very good news. Sarush would like to understand what you've been mentioning the professional designation program. He'd like a little bit more understanding of what that actually is. Can you explain for us?
Sure. The professional designation program is a program that's kind of set up for students who have a prior college degree. So let's say someone comes to Fitm with a bachelor's degree in communications. Mm-hmm. They can then pursue their dream, let's say, of studying fashion design without having to do a 2 or 4 year program at Fitm. So it's really concentrated on just the, you know, core curriculum: sewing, draping, pattern drafting, grading, marking, cutting, collection development. So it's a way for students to take what they already know how to do, not have to double their work, no math and English and speech and history and those types of classes, and really just focus in on developing a portfolio that's relevant and marketable in their chosen major. These programs are much shorter in length for some of them. They can be, like Angela was saying, as short as 9 months in length. I think some might be 15 or 18 as well. So it's just a way to really kind of get to the meat and potatoes of what you're wanting to learn and the skill set that you're wanting to develop that's relevant to this industry.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much. Araceli would like to know, in regards to letters of recommendation, are they to be from anyone specific? Any recommendation there?
Yeah, I think we always like to hear from folks that know you in an academic setting. So especially if you're a high school student, I think academic references are preferable, but that can be a teacher, a counselor, principal, your advisor. But professional references are appropriate as well. So we see a lot of students that will submit, you know, one recommendation from a teacher and one from an employer. Sometimes older students that have been out of school for a while, like our transfer students, you know, don't have the ability to go back and get a reference, you know, from a professor or a teacher. So in that case, professional references are appropriate. We want to hear about work habits, study habits, maturity, integrity. So, you know, a lot of students are worried about the fact that they don't have someone that can write about their sketching or sewing ability, but that's okay. We want to hear, you know, about those other things as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Araceli is, she says that her GPA is not exactly what she wished it would be, which I know we hear that a lot. And she would like to know what you recommend. Do you recommend for her to stay at her current community college to bring up her GPA? Or would you recommend her go ahead and apply in the fall? What do you think?
I would say, you know, to kind of keep doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome isn't always the right approach. I've seen students go to 3 or 4 community colleges and have similar experiences. So my gut instinct would be to talk to somebody, see what your grades look like. Sometimes they're not as bad as you think they are. Sometimes they could certainly be better. And we can help guide you with the appropriate kind of next best step. So sometimes the next best step is to remove yourself from that environment and get into a more creative or art-based or student-centered environment that's going to feel more kind of authentic to your learning style and what you ultimately want to do. But sometimes students do need to take a couple of classes, pull those grades up. So it's very individual. My counsel, talk to somebody, see where you are. Let's look at high school as well as college. There's a whole story there. So let's have a conversation about the story.
Okay, that sounds good. Mia is really specifically looking at interior design. She wants an interior design program. So right now she already has a BSBA in business administration. She wants to know where would she be beginning for the interior design program and what's the minimum days per week she would need to attend her classes, and then in addition, how fast can she obtain her BA degree in interior design? So action-packed questions.
So she already has a bachelor's degree, but in an unrelated area. Is that right? Not in interior design.
Administration.
Yeah. Okay. So again, the professional designation program would be probably the appropriate starting point. It starts out, at a relatively fundamental level, so a student does not have to have any prior, drafting or architecture in their background, but it is an accelerated program. The interior design program is actually 15 months for the professional designation program, but it's strictly classes in interior design, and again, a big focus on career development. Many students that come to us with a prior bachelor's degree find that 15-month program in and of itself is exactly what they need to get their feet in the industry. But if you want to pursue a bachelor's degree from there, you certainly can. It would be an additional 2 years after that professional designation program. But again, it's a decision that a student can make along the way. A lot of students find that by that 4th or 5th quarter, after they've had 1 or 2 internships and been in such a hands-on environment, that they're ready to go to work in the industry.
Okay. Caitlin would like to know, how many years does it take to study at FIDM and get your degree?
Students can be there for, depending on how they come in, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So we will, again, it kind of goes back to that curating a pathway that's specific to a student. A student can come in pursuit of an AA degree, go on to a bachelor's program, go on to the MBA. A student could go many different ways, 2 years advanced study, bachelor's. There's so many options. So I'm not big on short answers, obviously, but the short answer is 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year.
Wow. And talk to your advisor.
Yes.
Make your own path. Sounds good. Morgan is interested in fashion design, but they can't sew. Is that a problem?
No, it's not a problem. Like I mentioned before, the major of fashion design starts at a fairly fundamental level. Students start, in their first quarter learning the basics of sketching and sewing. I always recommend to a student, if you've literally never sat at a sewing machine before, it might be helpful just to familiarize yourself. And that could be through a weekend class at your local fabric store, or a couple hours at grandma's house, however you can just get a little bit of exposure. I think more for the student, they tend to feel more comfortable coming in with a little bit of that. But if they have never sat at a sewing machine, that's okay as well.
Great. So you don't have to learn how to be the fashion designer before you come to FIDM. That's good. That's encouraging. So I love this question because I also love our admissions advisors. But Jessica Diaz would like to know, if I applied in the past and I was previously paired with an admissions advisor, and now I'm looking to apply again as a transfer, can I work with the same admissions advisor as before?
Yes, we would love it. We always love to reconnect with students after weeks, months, years, whatever it is. Yes, we've all been here for a really long time, and we would love to reconnect with you, see what you've been doing, and get you maybe on track to come to FIDM this time around.
Come on over, Jessica. We look forward to seeing you. I like this question too. Spencer would like to know, am I going to be the oldest person in my class? What is the average age of students?
No, I doubt you'll be the oldest, but it's a really diverse crowd at FIDM, which, I think is one of the things our students love about, our environment. I think the average age is like early 20s. Jennifer, does that sound right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but it is such a wide range. I've worked with students that, have had full, long careers in other industries and are coming back now to follow their passion. Some that, of course, are coming straight from high school, but like I said, it's a diverse crowd. We have students from all over the world, literally, and all ages. So I don't think there's an age that's too old.
Never too old.
Never too old. Come on back. So another good question, what is the and I know you did touch on this earlier, but what is the required GPA to transfer? I know you touched on it, but could you just reiterate it for us?
So I think if a student is sitting around a 2.5 and above, they're in a pretty good spot to show aptitude, to show that they can manage college coursework. Our program is challenging, it's rigorous. We need to make sure that someone's ready for it. Now, sometimes if someone has below a 2.5 GPA, this speaks to the kind of conversation, the relationship with the advisor. We can kind of talk about that because again, GPA is not always a reflection of aptitude. There's a story that goes into every GPA. A student is a full student. They're a full person with a full life. That's why we also look at references, essays, portfolio, as well as the transcript. You'd be surprised how many times we see a student that maybe doesn't have the best GPA, but has the most glowing, fabulous references speaking to their aptitude, their maturity, their work ethic. And sometimes there's just something that happened along the way that, you know, was a detriment to the GPA, but not always about aptitude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So don't be discouraged. Come on and try because.
Right. I think that's why we kind of, I don't like to say a real number because I wouldn't want someone who has a 2.49 GPA to say, oh my gosh, I guess that's not me. That's not the case. So, and I also think that's a benchmark. Our average GPA is more like 3.2, 3.3. We have very academic, high-performing students on campus. So again, benchmarks are not always the norm. They're not typical, but it's a baseline to work from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gio would like to know if there's any extracurricular programs on campus to help you decide what field in fashion you want to do. Like, for example, if you know you want to do fashion, but you don't know exactly what, is there anything like that on campus to help you figure it out?
Yeah, definitely. We have a really robust student activities department. So there's all kinds of clubs and activities on campus, many that pertain to the industries that we serve. But we also have traditional clubs, student council, we have a great magazine. But there's a lot of volunteer opportunities. So I always tell students, you know, to take advantage of those things, you know, whether it's, you know, LA Fashion Week, where we take students every year, you know, no job is too small. I think, you know, if you can gain exposure, if you're handing out water or working backstage, you know, whatever it is, I think, you know, take advantage and yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of different ways to gain exposure to areas within your major, but certainly outside of your major. We also do a lot of collaborations between majors. So that is, you know, sometimes helpful too. A fashion designer and a graphic designer may work on a project together. So it kind of opens your eyes to different opportunities that are out there.
Mm-hmm. And I tell a student before they start school, just say yes. Say yes to everything. Join every club, do internships, go to job fair, go to industry, just do everything, meet everybody, shake every hand, take every business card. Eventually, as you're going through the program, things will shake out. You can't always, you know, go to school full time and do an internship and work and all of those things. But in the beginning, if you just become the sponge, welcome every opportunity that comes your way, and then throughout the course of your time at Fitm, it becomes almost habit to say yes to everything. It builds your resume, it builds your network. And then to Angela's point, it helps you parse out what you're most interested in and what you're not. I have students all the time that come in, they really want to be stylists, and then they go on in a styling internship and they might have to be on location at 4 a.m. and all of a sudden styling doesn't feel as glamorous as it was. Conversely, there were students that will thrive off of that environment. So it's the exposure and the practice, if you will, that will help you determine where you belong within the industry.
Mm-hmm. We actually just have time for one more question, you guys. Our time is running out, but this is a good question to finish with, I think. Morgan would like to say that she loves design, but they're not sure on the fashion design major specifically. Are there a lot of other majors to check out at Fitm?
Yes, I think, you know, nearly 30 different majors, many that kind of fall under that big umbrella of fashion, some that are outside of fashion. But again, I think, you know, connecting with someone at the college to really talk about, you know, what you love, what your career goals are, what you're good at, what you don't like. You know, those are all ways to kind of figure out what path might be most appropriate. You know, we have majors that run the spectrum from completely design, sketching, sewing, pattern making, draping, nothing else, to the business side of the industry and everything in between. So, you know, again, I think just connect with someone that can really help you figure out which classes you're going to love to take, that are going to keep you interested and motivated, and that will, you know, ultimately lead to the career goal.
Definitely. Thank you for answering our last question, Angela. Jennifer, is there anything you'd like to say to everyone before we go?
Like parting words of wisdom and inspiration?
Yes, mostly.
Sure. I think that the takeaway today, obviously, is that your educational path is a personal journey. There is no right way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it. And sometimes the journey changes course. Students don't always finish where they started, and that's okay. I think making change, chasing dreams, that is bold and that's courageous. And we're kind of living in a really interesting time where we've all been able to take a step back, to do some soul searching, a time for self-reflection. And I think Angela and I probably would just want to say, if you feel like now is the time for your journey to change course, just reach out to us. Give us a call, you know, email, whatever. But we're looking forward to talking with you and just talking about your journey and your career kind of trajectory.
Thank you for that. And really thank both of you for being here with us today. I feel like we were able to cover so much ground today, and you were able to answer so many questions for us. I think that we're all a lot more equipped to move forward and definitely to reach out to admissions to get more personal questions answered. So thank you, Jennifer and Angela, for being with us today.